Greet you all students of third year. This is paper first unit B. We have been discussing Victorian poets, Victorian era, and in this series, Tennyson is one of the most representative poets of his age, Victorian era. Now, the reason that I have started particularly with Tennyson because this poem, Ring Out Wild Bell, it is very relevant and it has great universal appeal. All the poems prescribed in your syllabus, they are very important and they are relevant, obviously more or less. But this specifically, Ring Out Wild Bell, Tennyson, he appears before us as a great social reformer. And this poem, I think, each and every student and say person, each and every student or say any layman or the bright student or young aspirants or scholar, they must read this poem because the dire need of the hour is to establish justice in the world, in the society. And see, there is need of love, harmony, I mean, the fellow feelings, the compassion and all that. And therefore, we have Victorian, the expression of that, as we discussed earlier this point, that Tennyson, he is regarded as a representative poet of Victorian period of his age and as a social reformer because his poetry, it represents the Victorian spirit, faith in tradition, culture and religion, and the spirit of nationalism. But at the same time, entire world is a global village. When he talks about the establishment of justice, so justice for all, and there is biblical reference towards the end of this famous poem. So see, you just have a look here. Now, what is the occasion of this poem? Two important points I would like to discuss first. Now, this poem is first just a part of his long elegy, that is In Memoriam. In Memoriam, actually an elegy which is written by Tennyson on the death, sad demise of his most intimate friend Arthur Hallam in the year 1833, and he was so distraught, so disturbed at that time, and that's why he wrote this particular poem In Memory. So it is derived from that, it must be clear to you. And at the same time, it is also a very nice lyric because Tennyson is regarded as a master of lyrics, as a lyricist also. So here in Memoriam, so it is, though it is a long elegy with philosophical meditative tones and expression, yet it is also famous as the collection of 131 lyrical poems. Okay, how many poems are there in this long collection, poetic collection, elegy in memory? 131. And Ring Out Wild Bell is one of the poems among them, these lyrical poems. And we have say in other poems, there is elegiac note, and but say didactic mode, throughout all the poems we have. Now, didactic means some educational quality, you learn and source of inspiration in from that point. So now this elegy, it was published in 1850, and Arthur Hallam, his unfortunately his sad demise, and he died in the year of 1833. So after 17 years, and you see the gap of 70 years, this poem In Memoriam was published. Okay, and this poem, this elegy is an expression of Tennyson's innermost urge of social, political, and overall reformation in the society. So this is the first point, In Memoriam. So it must be clear to you from that elegy, this section, Ring Out Wild Bell. Now another point is that now what is the occasion of this poem? See, you just have a look this picture. See, here, ringing church bell. Actually, occasion of this poem is 31st December. That is on the eve of New Year. And, particularly ringing the bell at that time, it's very pious and sacred. So it signifies the see the feeling of that entire society in the entire, so the beginning of new year and the dying year. So personification, the poet has used this literary device, personification of that year as if it is dying and new year is coming. So he is addressing the bell that ring out all the vices and ring in positivity, virtues, love, justice, harmony in the world. And context of obviously Victorian era, contemporary time, but at the same time, it is meant for all, as he himself has mentioned in this poem. So this is the occasion of poem. And third point, I would like to here focus that when we discuss, because in examination, you may be asked this question about the reflection of characteristic features of particular age, Victorian period. Okay, so this at least you must have idea about it. So here reflection of the age when we discuss is, yes, earlier also the spirit of nationalism. See, you just have a look. These are very important points. We have see a spirit of nationalism and patriotism in this. And earlier, I mean, other poem, Charge of Light Brigade. It is also very important poem so far as his spirit of nationalism is concerned. And the purpose of poetry is to promote moral values. So this ethicality is also one of the important characteristic features of that age. And rise of democracy, equality of all. So students, you must have noticed that it is this point, rise of democracy, or even other points, all these are relevant to all the ages, past, present and future. That's why equality of all the people. If you there is some kind of magical impact when you study this poem, because Tennyson, he has innermost desire to bring about radical change in the society. So society, when you study, you read this poem, you recite it, you feel that as if whatever he has written, yes, it is happening around the society, be it India or say England or any other state. That's why it has great universal appeal. So people, they are running after materialistic pursuits, and so that commercial prosperity is also it is must. But say this kind of the people, the degradation of values. So satire on corruption and hypocrisy and evils, all that, this also he tends to cover. So ring out all the vices and ring in, yes, positivity. So Tennyson's this in the Victorian compromise also he has pointed out. I mean the balanced approach at the conflict between we can say when scientific advancement and industrialization at the same time, passion and love for tradition and religion. So there must be balanced approach in that way. So from that point of view also, this is important. Now this in memoriam, this poem, when we discuss this, this part, ring out wild bell, it reflects the spirit of, yes, that spirit of a nationalist and patriot, and at the same time, yes, a social reformer. This is the point I would like to hear emphasize. So church bells ringing vigorously. So this is, the important meaning. We have reference. It is, on the eve of New Year. These bells, they generally ring vigorously, violently. And the poet, addressing the rings. Yes, you go on. But ring out, I mean, you remove and uproot, eradicate all the evils. So let it die. This is what, poet's expression, personification of the air. Okay. So this is ring out. You just have a look, and we time constraints, so that you would have better understanding about all these points. So wild bell, this is, the metaphor of that bell, church bell ringing and personification. So what is the meaning of ring out? Yes, bid farewell the past year and ring in welcome new year. Okay, so this is entire poem. In each and every stanza, the poet, he has laid emphasis on ring out. So what is ring out? It means remove, eradicate, and uproot. You do away with that. And ring in, you just come. And we, for the betterment of the society and for the progress, development, upliftment of the society and the world and the entire universe also. I mean, here the poet wants. So he is also regarded as a master of lyrics. So we have in this lyrical quality is also important, mind you, poet in this. Now, the poem, particularly this poem, it marks the significance of positivity. Yes. So this is when with the establishment of human values. Now, what are human values, students? We must be true to each other, and integrity, honesty, and transparency. And then we have love, and we have say fellow feelings, and the compassion, feeling of compassion. There must be order in the society, discipline, and justice for all, equality, harmony, and the dire need of the hour. That's why I have told you relevance in all the ages. So relevant this poem is from that point of view. Okay, when you write your answer in examination, you can cover this point. So the poets focus on the love, peace, and justice for the people, and also to uproot the evils and negativity. Now, negativity, hatred, jealousy, malice, and from the society. This is, I mean, it is a must. This is really essential, and it is high time. Be it, say, the past, or say the present, or the whatever. I mean, if we really make strenuous endeavors, the future life will be really better. Life of, yes, justice for all. And when you study any poem, this much of background, you should know. And a brief biographical sketch of the poet is also very important, because Tennyson, now Tennyson's birthplace, native place is Lincolnshire. And see, he right from the beginning, he had a literary taste. The reason behind it, he was brought up in a good educational setup, academic environment, and his father, he was rector of Somerby. This is the tiny village. This is with natural surroundings, hilly area, riverside, and all that. Now, what is the meaning of rector? I mean, I have just mentioned this word, rector of Somerby. I mean, a person in the charge of university or college, and also sometimes it is also used for priest, with the charge of a church. But here, his father, Tennyson's father, is in the rector here, in the sense, charge of university and college. So naturally, that kind of background, educational and academic atmosphere over there. And the place, this was, Lincolnshire. It was very nice place. Just have a look. I mean, this is biographical sketch here. And he studied in reputed school in Louth, and this is, he got opportunity to be a scholar, classical scholar over there in the university. And see, this is an Cambridge University. He studied there. This is Trinity College, Cambridge. It's that's why he's and see the he even when he was studying in the college in that young age, he started writing poems. Okay, he was so talented. His potential for creative writing, and his collection when he was studying poems by two brothers. So, with his brother, he wrote this poetic collection. Okay, so this much of knowledge, students, I expect that bright students, they should have the background of that. And see, another point here, when we discussed earlier also, Victorian era and the background of the poem. And then the third significant point is that the device literary device. First, as the poem In Memoriam, no doubt, that was written in elegiac note. But mind you, this poem is different. I mean, this lyrical, among 131 poems, Ring Out Wild Bell is just one. So it must be clear to you. Just one lyric. Okay? But it is not written in elegiac note. So what kind of tone is here? Didactic tone. So didactic tone, some educational purpose of that. Educational purpose of teaching the people, and social reformation also. Social reformation, because evils everywhere, crime, and it is increasing day by day, the graph of crime, sin. So that is relevant even today. Okay. Now, the poem, you must be, thorough with the text. Text is very important, and I told you earlier that the poems prescribed in your syllabus, all these poems are there in 15 poets. Okay, so just have a look. Here we have, this text. Okay, so this text, in which how many stanzas are there in Ring Out Wild Well? We have 8 stanzas, and very nice lyric. That stanzaic structure with 4 lines, and it begins with ring out. And see, if you recite the poem, ring out wild bells to the wild sky, and the flying cloud, the frosty light, the air is dying. So the personification, see this voice of ringing bell, it reaches the sky, and even in the cloud, and the light is also, which is particularly, he mentions the night time. 31st December is the occasion, and the New Year Eve. So the poet's expression is here important. What is the reason? Because poet is quite confident enough. His attitude is so positive, his optimistic attitude. He avers that ring out wild when and let him die. See the ear, see, no matter. See, if the past time, it was full of evils and vices, and that's why it is a must to, yes, pass the year. And so this is the point here, first uprooting the, yes, vices, evils, to remove that. So here, in the particularly say, the first part, the poet points out. Now the wild, why the word wild is very, very important, because vigorously bells, the volume is, it reaches the sky at midnight, December 31st. And the purpose is to welcome New Year. Okay, so sky is also wild, very rough, the particularly, wintry sky. And flying, why the poet has used here flying, floating in the sky, driven I mean, because wind is also blowing at that time. So that kind of we have a kaleidoscopic picture of that picturesque depiction, and the frosty night. The light of stars penetrating through the frost. Okay, so that's why it appears very bright at that time. And why he has used the word dying, personification is there. It means departing or passing year. So the important exhibition in the first stanza, the last line in each stanza, the last line is very important because it marks the crux of that stanza. Ring out, wild bell, and let him die. It means the year, departing year, and the poet is poet. I mean here as a mouthpiece of the whole age, Victorian era, that he is really determined to welcome New Year. So metaphor of New Year means it brings about the change in the society in better way, in say positive manner, positive way. Just yes. See the in the then we have just the second part in which the poet, this he has laid emphasis on the uprooting and eradication of the evil and the establishment of truth and justice. So we will continue the students. Thank you.